Hey guys, it's the Curious Owl here, and I'm back here again with Erica.
Hi.
Alright, so this is going to be another collab video. We talked about this in the last collab video we did that was put on her channel, which was talking about the book Looking for Alaska by John Green. We were basically, there's a question we had where it was like, what were the 3 things you'd bring to a desert island if you could? And she said one of her things she would bring would be Looking for Alaska, because that is her favorite book in the entire world.
That's why I have 2 copies.
Yeah, she brought 2 copies with her. You guys know I did a book review on the book Looking for Alaska, which you guys can go check out right up there. And basically what we're going to do is, with this collab, is we're going to talk about a few different things about the books themselves. We're going to basically, on this channel, focus more on the casting disputes that have come up with the making of the Looking for Alaska movie, and the cover disputes that kind of happened when the book first came out. And then on Erica's channel, we're going to go much more in depth with the actual story. So you guys know, if any of you have read the book Looking for Alaska, you know there's been this really big kind of controversy as to what really happened to her. Well, we're going to talk about all that stuff on her channel, so make sure you guys go check out that part and see what we have to say about that. But for now, as far as the casting disputes, we recently found out that the making of the movie has been postponed. Originally, the movie was supposed to come out in about 2017, I think maybe the summer or spring, somewhere in like the middle of the year. And unfortunately, it has been postponed, and the rumor has been that it has become around because of casting disputes. Apparently what has happened is John Green does not like the person that they have picked for the character of Alaska, and so because of that, there's been a lot of arguments with the directors and producers and everything and him, and so they've postponed the movie. As far as my views on it, honestly, and Erica, you can chime in at any time like about this whole thing, because we talked about this a little bit before we started filming. I don't remember who was the person they casted as Alaska, but I think she was black. And I don't think this was a racial kind of concern at all. Like, it wasn't against this girl's race or anything. I think that the reason that they did this was because the character of Alaska was not black, and John Green wanted to keep it as true to the original story as possible. So I think it had something to do with race, but it wasn't a racist kind of argument. It was more along the lines of, like, he just wants the movie done the way it is, like how the book was, which I can respect as an author and as a writer. Like, you want your stuff to kind of come to life, like your readers have seen it.
Yeah, because he created this character, and I feel like it's a hard thing for him too, because Looking for Alaska was his first novel, so he's probably had this idea of who she is over these past 11 years that it's been, and I can imagine how difficult it is to find a real life person who fits that. And
at the same time, though, I do feel bad for the actress that was originally casted as Alaska, because as an actress, like, that is such a confidence buster that, like, you're not the right fit for this character, especially for a character as significant and as, like, incredible as the character of Alaska Young. It's such a confidence buster as an actress for you, because that's like, I'm not good enough to play a character that I was originally casted for, and they're gonna have to find somebody else. Like, that's really sad. And, you know, the fact that she's not the right race is kind of iffy. Again, though, I don't think it has anything really to do with, like, anything mean or negative towards her race. It's just she does not fit the character of Alaska. While she may have the personality, I think he's trying to kind of
just
keep
not
it as
right for the book.
Right. I think he's trying to keep it as real as possible, which, you know, like you said, as an author, that's really difficult, especially for this being one of his very first book. Like, this is his pride and joy, his baby.
Yeah, it's like what made him famous.
It is. Yeah. It's what made him famous, and so he wants it to be as real as possible for his readers to see. Like, there's been millions of fans around the world know who John Green, and it's just, honestly, like, I understand that as an author, and as a reader, like, I want movies that are made from books to be as true to the story as possible. So when things kind of happen to characters that you don't understand, like people that are casted in certain roles that you don't think fit, that's incredibly irritating. I probably have mentioned this to you several times, but one of the least favorite movies I've ever seen is the movie adaptation of the book Beautiful Creatures by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stohl. that book's main character was a 15-year-old boy, and they picked a guy that was like twice that age and tried to sell him off as a high school student. That doesn't work. He obviously looked like that character.
It's Hollywood, though.
It is. Honestly, it is Hollywood, though. And I felt like there was a lot of other characters that didn't fit the bill. But I will say there were other characters that fit that bill, and I can go into a whole other video about that if you guys want me to. Please let me know, because I would rant about that movie forever. But back to Looking for Alaska. Honestly, like, I understand John Green's stand in this whole thing, and I agree with him. I do feel bad, though, for that actress that's being told she's not the right fit, because that is so hard on an actress.
Heartbreaking, yeah.
Especially for a movie as big as this is going to be. Like, this is going to be probably bigger than Paper Towns and The Fault in Our Stars were, because this was John Green's first book, for crying out loud.
It's a great one, and Alaska is such a great character and such a relatable character to me anyways, so it's, as somebody watching, I would be judgmental of whoever is picked, so I'll probably hate them.
Most of us are. Most of us who have read books that are made into movies, we're very judgmental of the people that were picked for these characters, because we're going to pinpoint and pigeonhole these characters so badly, we're going to lose the fact that they actually did anything right. Now, I think going along with this whole train of thought thing, there's been this whole kind of blow up over the fact of like the Harry Potter musical where they picked a Hermione that was black. And, you know, the thing is J.K. Rowling never said whether Hermione was white or black. They just said she was a little girl at the time with this big frizzy hair and everything. So I understand from like her point of view, like she was okay with it because she never really said like how Hermione looked, other than had a lot of freckles and had really frizzy hair. But I also understand how people are kind of like, no, you need Emma Watson because she was the original, or like you need someone that looks like Emma Watson because she was Hermione in all the movies. But I like the fact that John Green is sticking to his guns and is saying, no, this is how Alaska is supposed to be, and we're not going to change that. And so I hope that he kind of gets through this whole thing, and I hope that they finally lift this whole postponement and actually get to making the movie, because I'm really excited for it. I know you are, like, tremendously.
Yeah, I just have to find out how I can audition. That's it. That's it. I mentioned this on my channel, on our last collab video. I had this whole argument about how I am Alaska, so I just gotta figure out how to contact them.
I mean, really, other than just, like, the fact that she doesn't smoke and has a completely different home life than Alaska had,
yeah,
Erica is pretty much...
Our personalities,
yeah, the personalities are very similar.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, Alaska's a character that doesn't think before she does things, which Erica does sometimes, and I've explained that before. Yep. And I mean, other than that, Alaska was a very passionate person about things. She was very passionate about the people she was involved with, passionate about the things she loved, especially her books, which Erica's passionate about her books, and
as you can tell,
I mean, obviously. So yeah, so that's pretty much the whole casting dispute kind of thing that we wanted to go over. The next thing is the actual book cover dispute that happened around the time the book first was released. Now, Erica actually didn't know this, but I had talked to another friend of mine that had read Looking for Alaska, and she told me this whole thing because she had seen countless interviews and had read different interviews about the whole thing. So basically, in short, what happened, when the book first came out, the cover was just of smoke with the title. And so many people who read this book that were especially of the Christian community were offended by it because they thought it symbolized the smoke from a cigarette, which makes sense because that was part of Alaska's life. She smoked a lot. But they were very offended by it and demanded that John Green change the cover of the book in order to make it more kind of friendly, family-friendly kind of thing. And that happened, so there's been countless different book covers changing it. I mean, actually, can you show your books? This is actually not the original book cover because at the bottom there's a candle. I'm pretty sure that the original cover had just all of the smoke and no candle at the bottom of the book, and then this other book just is like, it's more drawn, and I think this is a much newer cover. But it was essentially in this kind of fashion where instead of it looking more cartoony, it was actually like smoke coming from the bottom. And from what I know, John Green originally, like, he went along with it, he did the whole thing, and then eventually was kind of like, you know what, no, I'm going to keep it the way it was because I'm going to resell the original ones because that was what I liked and what I wanted for this book. And so we're going to just kind of go with what I want.
And it's not a family-friendly book, so I don't understand what the big stink about the smoke on the cover is. Because
Exactly.
if you read the book, like, if you have a problem with smoke on the cover, you probably shouldn't be reading the book.
Exactly, honestly, because there's not only smoking involved, there is so much, like, sexual language, and there's very crude language, and alcohol involved, and all kinds of other things. So if this is not even a friendly book at all, like, family-friendly book at all.
No.
So the fact that they even, like, disputed over the cover is mind-boggling to me, but unfortunately we live in a world where there's going to be people that are going to be offended by everything, so they're going to state their opinions no matter what. So, but as far as the cover dispute, I really admire the fact that John Green did stick to his guns. Eventually, like, it took a little bit of time, but he did end up sticking to his guns and going back to the original cover, because that is really important. Like, I think as an author, you have to be proud of what you've done in order for your book to even sell, and the fact that he was proud of it and decided to go back to the original cover is, like, that's tremendous steps for him. Like, that already shows people that he is proud of his work and he's proud of what he's done and is not going to give a crap about what other people who are offended have to say.
And I feel like that probably is part of the reason that he doesn't want to compromise on the character of Alaska for the movie. That if he knows what he wants, and he's compromised before and realized that it was the wrong move, so this time around he's just sticking with what he wants from the beginning.
Yeah, and I personally have not seen The Fault in Our Stars nor Paper Towns, the movies.
I've seen them all.
So, I mean, I don't know how he was with the casting choices in those movies, but obviously if the whole, like, casting dispute with Alaska is this big, maybe there was something with the casting of both of the other movies that he wasn't really fond of. So, or maybe this was just this one thing that kind of was like, you know what, no, I'm going to keep it the way I want it to be. Which, I mean, that's admirable for any author that is having their books made into movies, because more often than not, I find you see that authors of books that are, like, the authors of original books that were made into movies aren't a part of the movies themselves. I know Veronica Roth was an extra in the Divergent movies, so she had a hand in some of the casting and some of the choices made, which I think really helped with the movie, because the movie followed the storyline really, really well. Like, with everything that happened, like, the big points in the novel were expressed in the movie. There were some differences as far as, like, what exactly happened towards the end of the story. Minor differences, some things that kind of were more of a Hollywood kind of feel. But other than that, it was still really good. And I think that's because, you know, the author was a part of that whole process. And I'm loving the fact that more and more today we're finding authors that are being a part of these movies, because they're obviously their best-selling novels. They're their babies. They want them to be really good. Yeah. And it's amazing to me that they're actually now being able to be a part of the movie process. So, do you have anything else you want to say as far as either of our topics?
I don't think so. I think we about covered it. Just that I'm proud of John Green.
Yeah, we're really proud of John Green for sticking to his guns. I do love him a lot. And so, yeah. So on Erica's channel, we're going to be talking about the theories about the death of Alaska Young.
Spoiler.
Yeah, honestly, it's not really a spoiler. I mean, I kind of mentioned it. But we're going to be basically talking about the whole theories behind, like, the two different theories behind what exactly happened to Alaska Young in the novel. Which, like, we said this in the collab video we did. Yeah. We have very different ideas of what happened, and we're going to talk about that, because honestly there's different ways of people think about it, and there's a lot of merit to both. So yeah, so go check out her channel. Make sure to leave a like in this part if you guys enjoyed it, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. Thank you, Erica, for joining me. Anytime. And we will see all of you guys in her video, or I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.
Bye.